Thank you for joining us again. If you're just joining us, you're not late because the second leg is about to begin. And like I said earlier, we'll be joined by our guest, an analyst, of course, Vice President Nigerian Youth and Politics. He is Olufowobi Olarenwaju Desmond. Hope I got that name correct. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Victoria, for having me. Good morning.
All right. Now, just to remind you that you can, of course, join us on the conversation this morning as to the headlines we will be analyzing. And you can phone us in via the numbers that would be displayed on your screen. All right, Mr. Desmond, how do you do?
I'm good. Good morning,
How's Nigeria treating you?
Nigeria is fine. Nigeria, the land of many joy, happiness, the land of many drama, and the love of promise. Is a land of promise.
And Abuja itself, because I understand you're a visitor in Abuja here.
Yeah, Nigeria is Abuja is our capital, so I'm not a visitor in Abuja. Okay. So I just come in, but I'm not from Abuja. I come in every time and go out of Abuja. Okay,
so speaking about visiting, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune, where we have the headline saying Plateau's cycle of violence must be broken, and that is coming from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Tinubu. He is ordering manhunt for killers, and he says we will, I quote, we will get to roots of insecurity in our region, Northern, that is Northern governors. But let's look at the parts for Plateau's incessant, because it is becoming a norm. When you hear Plateau, what comes to your mind first is Plateau. Killing, incessant killing of resident crisis and the rest of it. I've always going to know Plateau as that. So what do you make of should we say this is as a result of negligence on the part of security agents, on the part of government, or what is the problem? Well,
as a student of conflicts back there in the university, I did a couple of research on Plateau, not just Plateau. I did a couple of research about the causes of conflicts in different parts of Nigeria. And I will let you know that Plateau State is not originally Horn of Africa, Horn of Nigeria. Yeah. Plateau is not basically the Horn of Nigeria where violence comes to mind whenever it is being mentioned. Plateau used to be the home of peace and the most visited state in Africa, in Nigeria, by the Europeans and people coming from outside the world. Plateau, that's why if you go to Plateau, Plateau is like an extension of Lagos, where you have more people from the southeast, you have a lot of people from the southwest, you have a lot of people from different parts of Nigeria who naturally want to stay in Plateau. But in the 90s, maybe after the Fourth Republic, that was when we started having issues in Plateau State. Early 1990 and 2000. And the reason is this, Plateau has now become like a battlefield for the political gladiators. You know, there is nothing to me like religious violence or religious conflict with what I have done as research. What I've always known is that politicians, economic violence, people who perpetrate these conflicts or prosecute this conflict, they hide under the disguise of religious fight. Now, I will tell you, it's not just about negligence. It is a total negligence by the people. Because I'm telling you the gospel truth. The prosecutor of this violence are known. They are not animals. They are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings. Just like the Berlin Conference, where African is being partitioned. Some people stay somewhere, 1, 2, 3 people in the conference room and decide that this is what they are going to do because they can't actually get what they want. So they like to use violence as an instrument to pursue their cause in order to get what they want. At the end of the day, some people, one person, one group, one community is benefiting from the conflict. A lot of people, at the end of the day, a lot of people making money from Plateau violence. What you're seeing right now, people will be making money And that is what we have researched and we know. So the government, like throughout the government of President Buhari, we always hear perpetual will be brought to books. The government are not doing enough.
Okay, before we get to that part of the government, why do you think people, we humans, okay, because I've seen human take advantage of human beings, like you said, they are people, they are not animals, they are not objects or something, they are humans, and humans are expected to be humane, to give out, dish out characteristics of being humane, and we see them perpetrate these things. Why do you think humans do not prioritize their own fellow humans?
Do you know what Thomas Hobbes said? A sociologist. He said that in the state of nature, human beings are callous. Life in the state of nature is brutal. The nature of man is callous, wicked. And it is what? The survival of the fittest, like in the animal kingdom. It is laws that make human being to have value for another human being. Without law, that would be a state of nature where anything goes. Now, let's now relate it back to Plateau. It is because, not that there is no law in Plateau or Nigeria, there are laws that said that if you kill so A, X, this will happen to the A or the Y that persecute. But because it is not being implemented to the letter, these laws are not being implemented by the government. And that is the reason why you see people feast, enjoy themselves while killing others and making money. So, like I will tell you, for me, I will say this and I will say it again. Every time perpetrators be brought to book, perpetrators be brought to books. If we have a non-scapegoats, if the government really bring people to a book, you will not have the incessant and the continuous violent conflict and killing of human at will. It is really because the government and the people who are saddled with the responsibility to perpetrate crimes are not doing their bit. And I will tell you, they are motivated because they are very sure that they will do it and nothing will happen. And I tell you, unless President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be different from the previous administration, that anything goes. If the government needs to change the narrative and prove the integrity and the sincerity that lives matter, I am very sure these agents, security agents, will do what they are supposed to do without fear or favor and bring perpetrators to book. And that is the only way we can end the incessant killings, not just in Plateau, in different parts of Nigeria, even in Zamfara.
Yes, I was going to come to other northern states, because this is not just peculiar to Plateau State. We have Niger,
even
we have
Zamfara.
Yes, Zamfara for a long time has been a hub of things like this. Even Kaduna State, Benue State. Why is the north in the middle of all this insecurity?
Because anything goes. You know, it is so unfortunate that we have leaders in the northern part of Nigeria. Sometimes I used to wonder if the leaders are just pretending or they're hiding some things. It is not possible. With the help of the intelligence, with the help of the locals, with the help of the media, with the help of the rulership in every community, our communities are connected. Like in my own community, if I mention my name, I'm telling you, some other person knows where I am coming from. You know, it is very difficult for anything to happen in my community without you or anybody within the community to know where that thing is coming from. Now, the northern community is not, we might be millions. We might say in Kaduna we have about 19 million people. We might say in Kano we have 21 million people. But everybody is rooted to one person. Everybody has where he's coming from and where he's going to and where he's doing his business. And when somebody within a community commit a crime or do something, there are people who will, if truly they want to bring that person to book, one will go after that person and bring that person to book. But because in Nigeria, I feel like everybody is just a pretender. And the reason why crime is so peculiar, it's not that it's only in the northern part of Nigeria that we have crime, but the reason why people enjoy committing different kinds of crime and killing people is because the government or the leaders of this part of the world, they permit it, so to say. I beg to say this. I hold nobody apology for this. I am telling you that in a state and a country where we have governments, where we have all the intelligence, where we have the database of people, and some group of people will just come in, feast on people's lives, and then go scot-free without anybody being brought to book. And you're telling me that it is not. Now, let me tell you what, as a student of conflict, every conflict has what they call objects and issues. When you leave the objects, when you leave the issues, the main issues you go for, and you are tackling the object, you will never come to the end. What are the objects of conflict most times? That religious coloration. And that is why they hide other religious and political objects to actually cover their mess. The truth of the matter is this: if we are sincere to one another, we are sincere to the people that we are governing, these perpetrators can actually be brought to book. I can tell you how and why. Because every state have local government, every community have what they call akimi, everywhere they have what they call galadima, they have ballets, they have obas, they have hemia, they have the head of a clan. So everybody is connected. Even the strangers are connected to somebody. Even the stranger that just walk into the town, they are connected to somebody. So I will say this for a fact, that if truly the government wants to stop this incessant killing and turning the northern Nigerian to where they can come and do their bidding negotiation, because for every conflict you see, somebody is making money from it. From every fight you see anywhere, somebody is making huge billions of dollars out of it. So
there's still a lot to be done by the government.
There's still a lot that you should be more creative to make money from. Even the superpowers, we call them third parties in conflict, because in every conflict there is what they call the primary and the secondary, and we have what? The tertiary. Those people that are looking from afar and they are sponsoring the fight. They are doing it because of their gains. Some people, nobody goes into war for nothing. Nobody kill another person for nothing. They kill, but the main motive for killing or prosecuting conflict is for economic prosperity or because of gains, political gains, power or something. But it is not natural.
All right, it is not natural. These killings are not natural. Now, still talking about gaining from insecurity, and police kill sit at home enforcers. IPOB declares 14-day lockdown. Well, before we go on to this subject matter, let me quickly take this call. There is a caller in the house. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the press this morning, Abuja. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good morning. Victoria.
Yeah.
Akim calling from Lagos State.
Akim from Lagos State. Okay. Go on with your thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Let me say hello to your analyst there. All he has said is not wrong. He's on the right track. Exactly that is what is happening in this country. And because our leaders are shining away from the truth and they keep on deceiving us, they don't want to do the right thing. They know where the problem is, but they won't want to really do the needful. Take the word of Chief Obafemi Awolowo before he died. He said that the child that you refuse to educate today, you refuse to give his right or whatever, is coming after you. And that is what is happening right from the north and even across to the south today. So many people are being impoverished by the so-called people we entrusted with power, and they refuse to do what is right, even when they know it. Go to every sector of this country, you see the mess up. There is no any administration. Everything's all about pretense. For instance, go to hospital. You see some nurses, they are not doing their job the way they are supposed to do it. Are they not supposed to be someone who's supposed to caution them? Nobody is doing let it start from himself. Whoever you appoint and is not delivering to you, sack that person straight fire, straight forward. What is happening in Plateau, like he said, Plateau was very, very peaceful. Just like even Borno was very, very peaceful as well. But because of this kind of manipulation and self-interest of some people, they bastardize this area. And the issue of religion and tribalism are weapons for the rich that they use against the poor. But only when the poor realize that these are weapons that they use against them in order to make them not to be able to seek their what is their rightful thing, then they will come to their senses and not do away with religion, but don't allow anybody to deceive you with religion. Do your religion, but don't allow someone to deceive you just because of tribalism or religion. I've lived in the north. I know what it takes. I know everything is saying there is on the right track. If it goes down to the north, the northern leaders, they should call themselves all together. They are responsible. They may not be responsible directly,
yes,
but at least they are responsible. Why are the allocation given to them? Are they doing the right thing? Are they really? In fact, in terms of this crisis, if you look at the Zango Kata from Kaduna State and the northern part of the Kaduna State, you will see that the people are willing to live together peacefully, but because there are these religious leaders, few politicians, they are always doing religion as an excuse. So let me not take much of the time, but the fact is that Nigerians must realize that we love ourselves, but the only thing in between are the politicians that are using the religion and ethnicity as a weapon to divide us, just like the divide and rule that the whites did to us, for us not to know where we are going. So the same thing the rich are doing today. Only when we come together and realize and we face them squarely, you see they will continue doing the right thing.
All right,
so God bless Nigeria. We don't have any other country. This is the only country we have. Only when we realize, God bless us.
Thank you, Akim, for that contribution. Well, you heard Akim.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to react to that?
Yes. Thank you, Akim, for your points. I think he's on the right track. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't want to go back to that. It's just nailed it that they have to call themselves again. If truly what he said that you have to be humane, the leaders need to call themselves. They can solve the problem. You don't even need police. You don't need police.
The leaders, because
you don't need police. You don't need police. You don't need soldiers. You don't need any security agency to install peace in a community. All that you just needed is to put some senses into the head of these leaders. They need to come to the round table, and if once the leader sits on the round table and decide to end the killings in the north, it will stop.
But that's I beg to come in here, because he made mention about the white causing confusion, and now you're
they have to use people.
Okay, but then
they have to use your leaders.
But then the whites they do not have this kind of crisis.
Yes, they will not, because now it is very simple. And every conflict is for economic prosperity. The whites want to continue to be rich over the Africans. If the Africans are peaceful, united, and productive, they will no longer be vulnerable and be readily tools for them to use.
But isn't the citizens the problem themselves? Because the leaders,
it's just like a factory. It's just like a factory. It's just like a factory. Let me give you. You just need to understand what is happening in the world and Nigeria. It's just like a factory. You know, factory is always messed. When you go into the factory, you hear a lot of noise. You see a lot of people doing this. You see raw material being produced. That is like the battlefield. That's where the money that they now exchange in the bank. You know, the bank is not dirty. There is no noise in the bank. That's where the money is kept. Where the money is coming from is the factory. So Africa is the factory for the West, for the rich West. This is where they get all their natural resources. And when Africans wake up from their sleep to realize that these people are actually exploiting us, they will not give room. Now, let me tell you, the Europeans, the white man will not come to Africa and say fight. No, he will use what they call divide and rule. He will look for one idiot, because the idiot, according to Kamas, is the selfish person. You understand? In every society, we have those people who always very selfish about themselves. We classify them as idiots. Now, they don't care about the growth of the community. So they will look for one idiot in Kano, look for one idiot in Lagos, look for one idiot in Niger Delta. give him dollars, give him guns, and give everything, and they'll tell you that this people is riding on you, then you need to prosecute this war and this and that. They will now see. The worst thing that can ever happen to you as a man in life is to take or to choose your enemy as your friend and your friend as your enemy.
Let me hold your thoughts. We have a caller. Okay, I lost that caller. So I was going to talk about, I know the westernization might have a role to play, as they say, but then we humans here, where we are in the developing country, which we are, don't you think in a way we are kind of extreme?
Education.
We are extreme in whatever we're doing. Now the religion, they brought in religion to us now. But the religion, those who brought the religion are not as extreme as we are. Like, for instance, we've seen people burn people because of religion. We've seen people destroy people because of religion.
Do you know the man they call John Locke? He's a British guy. He's a sociologist. He did a lot of researches about why women behave in certain pattern. He did a lot, even John Skinner did a lot of research with animals, rats, and the rest of them. And he came up with this position that a man or a child is born in a state of tabula rasa, emptiness. Now, we are manufactured. Africans are manufactured. Nigerians are manufactured to think in a particular pattern.
What pattern?
Yes, that violence. That violence you see that is being exhibited today.
So it's not totally the leader's fault.
It is not totally the leader's fault, but for the fact that a leader is supposed to be somebody who knows the way and mobilize other people to follow the way. A leader is somebody who should know the right thing and mobilize people to follow him to achieve a common goal. So it is the responsibility of a leader to lead its people. And that is why the Bible says, when you put the righteous on the seat, the people rejoice. But when the wicked take over the throne of leadership, people cries. That same thing. A leader is not somebody that should be at the mercy of the white men. But today, a lot of leaders cannot differentiate between their left and their right. And that is why we are where we are today.
Okay, let me take this caller. I'm sorry. Hold your thoughts, please. Okay, good morning. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning. Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Chidebere Zoto, calling from Anambra State.
Oh, thank you, Chidebere.
Yes, please. I'm so much interested in this topic.
Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Get this topic. It is something very necessary. We have suffered so much in this country that we have suffered so much in this country that we don't want or whatever our leaders are doing, we should, in fact, I want to encourage you people to replicate this topic severally. Hello?
Yeah, go on with your thoughts. We are listening.
I want to, because the truth about it is this. Sometimes I try as much as possible to, blame the white men, because everything that is happening around us in Nigeria, I still have some blames on the white that are our colonial masters. You understand? Reason is, okay, I want to give you a practical. If you listen to one Al Mustafa when he was one of the vice president, when he was vying for presidency in this last election, he said that why would there be something like Boko Haram? Good. Now you see, Californium which is sold at $27 million per gram. Why would that be when a country like Nigeria is, that kind of thing? So I want you people to replicate whatever you people are doing with this type of topic severally, so that it will get into and penetrate into people's minds.
Okay, thank you very much for your thoughts. Thank you. We've heard enough.
You were talking about I'm going sit at home.
Exactly. Let me take the story on the Punch newspaper. Police key sit at home enforces. IPOB declares 14-day lockdown, and we said something about people gaining from crisis like this. I have been to the court several times, and I've heard the counsel to Nnamdi Kanu say vehemently that Nnamdi Kanu do not associate himself or does not associate himself with the sit at home, and yet we still see this go on in the state. And aside from that, now we see, I know there's a cause in which they're fighting for, know for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and but yet it has now become the South is killing themselves in the state. You
see, like I tell you, people should be more intelligent. Even governments needs to be intelligent in its approach. Even the public, like I said something before the call came in, that the worst thing that can ever happen to a man is to make his enemy his friend, and his friends is an enemy. You see, what is happening? The Southeasterners, my dear brothers from the East, they need to be more intelligent with their approach and to understand that in every conflict, there is what we call issue, there is what we call interest, and there is what we call object. People who prosecute conflict are so smart and intelligent to the point that they push the object of an issue, of a conflict, up and silence the object and silence the main interest. The interest is the motivation for every fight. Now the question is, what do we stand to benefit from the Southeast when we allow people that are hungry and their survival is based on everyday business? The commoners, those who survive only if they are on the street to do one hustling, one business or the other. And then what do you gain when you say you are fighting for the emancipation of your people, and you keep the same people you want to save in starvation by keeping them out of their business and survival in the name of fighting their cause? So it is not intelligent enough for those who buys into that.
Okay, it is not intelligent enough. Let's take this caller. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining us on the press. Let's get to hear your talk.
Beautiful morning to you, Victoria, and then Olarenwaju, Your Excellency, Vice President, Youth Leadership in Politics. Thank you very much. You are on to SMB from Lagos.
Thanks for joining us.
Olarenwaju, thank you very much once again. So really appreciate your input, and then this is the kind of issues we need to be discussing about. And then also, let me put this for one of my friends who make a call now, thinking that it's a topic that you people been discussing. Should know that it's a complimentary segment given by the KAFTAN TV to the audience. At least that is the press bringing out topics from the newspapers, then calling the analysts to come into the studio and analyze. It's not a particular or simple topic that just by the station. Thank you very much. And then Olarenwaju, I always mention this. The backbone of development in each and every society has to do with education. And this education, I don't know, it can never be emphasized. But what I mean by education, the way we are today, there is need for more awareness, especially when it comes to the societal movement, societal activities, communal effort, and so on and so forth, we lack in our society. And the worst part is, we have government agencies who are under Ministry of Information. First of all, National Television Authority, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, News Agency of Nigeria, Voice of Nigeria, and then National Orientation Agency. These are bad agencies, established by the government just to at least advocate good government policy to the citizens. The question is, are they doing that? I strongly believe National Orientation Agency has office in each and every local government. We have 774 local governments. And this orientation agency has offices. Are they doing their job? And question, you understand? These government agencies, are they getting funding to at least advocate the government policy, if not only NTA, who are doing at least? Sometimes you see some adverts, sometimes you see some jingles, and so on and so forth. If not because of this private media organization we do have, how are we going to achieve what we want to achieve? Now look at this education. Today, they are now worried because the tuition fee from the foreign countries is getting higher by 60%. If the day that the Nigerian government or rather the Nigerian universities raise their tuition fee, nobody talks. nobody talks.
Okay, quickly wrap up so that we can take other headlines.
So please, I have time will not permit me to go into details, but the issue is we need general societal reorientation. With what is going on in the southeast, you will know that generally we need general societal reorientation to get our country better, maybe to patch the cracking wall. Thank you very much. I remain SMD from Lagos.
Thank you, SMD.
Thank you. That part where he spoke about Nigerian students face tough times in UK, tuition soars by 60%, new forex rate threatens overseas students, indebted scholars barred from classes, parents begs federal government for concession as tuition living cost climb amid forex crash. I know we're talking about, of course, the IPOP declare. So can you do them both? Yes. Because we're out of time.
Thank you, Victoria. You know, like what the last caller said, this thought came to my mind, and it's very, very important we say it out to the government. You see, the process of appointing head of an agency is very important. You see, leadership is everything. Leadership is very, very important in everything you're doing. Now, you're bringing somebody to take over National Orientation Agency without a vast knowledge about the right values, without the right knowledge about the entity that makes Nigeria, without understanding the problems. How can that person function, especially when there is no passion? You see, the process of appointing people, I think it's about time in our life. I want to say this to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to make sure in his appointment, I know there is always a place for the party. There is always a place for loyalty. There is always a place for partisanship. But for the sake of the country, the president must, as a matter of urgency and emergency, put in round peg in round hole, square peg in square holes. It is important. Otherwise, we'll still be going front and back. So going back to the issue of IPOP and the student cry war in the UK.
We have just 3 minutes.
Now, I want to plead to my brother. The seat at home is a wrong ideology that some people are benefiting from. And let me tell you what is more funny. The irony of life is this. The people who sponsor these boys to persecute these seats at home might not be Easterners. They might be from the north. They might be from the southwest. They might even be outside the shores of Nigeria, and that is the hard reality. So we need to be intelligent. When we want to support anything, look at the gains of what we are supporting and the end result of what, the implication of what it's going to cost our people. Now, going back to the same thing, you know, you see, there is no sector in Nigeria that you will hold like this and you'll be proud of. I just hope that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will change things for us. Look at our education. Where are we there? Why do we have millions of Nigerians studying in UK? Don't we have universities? We have 100 and something universities, both private and public. We are public owned, we are private owned. Do you know billions of dollars leaving the shores of this country to that, and we are crying of lack of jobs. We are crying of unemployment because we are failed on our honors to do what is needed of us as people, as government. Why not equip our education? Why not make our education better? We don't need forests. We don't need to be taking the little forest we have outside there because we are giving subsidy for education. Now look at it now. Now the Europeans are very smart. Now with the subsidy remover and cash on every petrol on crude that is going out, they need to get their forest back. And they look at one of the greatest things that takes our money out of Nigeria is FS. It's education. Now they have increased by 60% just because they need more money. Tinubu's policy is reducing the FS that is going out there. So they have to be smart, and the only way they can hold us to ransom is to increase the education, because millions of Nigerians are out there. You understand? Acquiring higher education. So our government needs to, I don't see anything, make our education better, bring these people back, have a special school. You know, we can start having Nigeria British school. You understand that everything you are getting from the UK school, you can get it from the Nigeria school here, and everything has to be paid in there.
Oh, beautiful thoughts there. Thank you, Olarenwaju Desmond. Well, we've had a beautiful interaction with you, and we hope that next time when we call on you,
it is a pleasure.
Yes, you're going to speak our calls as usual.
Thank you.
All right. For those of you still calling us, we are very, very sorry we can't take your calls at this time, but do well to join us same time tomorrow, because we'll be like our caller suggested. But although we do basically what to get on the headlights, but sometimes we might want to chip in some of these things. So thank you, our viewers, for watching, and for those who called in, thank you so much for making this show sources, because without you it would have been in vain. So many thanks for joining us. I remain Victoria Agbi. See you later, and bye for now.